persons having any business before this honourable court now draw nigh and give your attendance, and you shall be heard. God save the Queen.
Admission of lawyers. Alina Akram.
May it please the court, I move that Alina Akram be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Alina Akram be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Michaela Alessi.
May it please the court, I move that Michaela Alessi be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Michaela Alessi be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Sunan Lusuntha Apuami.
May it please the court, I move that Suman Lusunta Apahami be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Suman Lusutha Apatami be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Jose Marie Avadillo.
May it please the court, I move that Jose Marie Avadillo be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Jose Maria Vadilio be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Jonathan Mayer Vern Barnett.
May it please the court, I move that Jonathan Mayer Vern Barnett be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Jonathan Mayer Vern Barnett be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Giuliano Philip Bashi.
May it please the court, I move that Giuliano Philip Bashi be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Giuliano Philip Bashi be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Tamara Nicole Bailey.
May it please the court, I move that Tamara Nicole Bailey be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Tamara Nicole Bailey be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Franklin John Beale.
May it please the court, I move that Franklin John Beale be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Franklin John Beale be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Jayashri Bukta.
May it please the court, I move that Jayashri Bhutkar be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Jayashri Buktar be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Despina Bolitos.
May it please the court, I move that Despina Bolitos be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Despina Bolitos be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Isabel Rose Carmody.
May it please the court, I move that Isabel Rose Carmody be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Isabel Rose Carmody be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Marita Sella.
May it please the court, I move that Marita Sella be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Marita Sella be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Daniel Casey Conway.
May it please the court, I move that Daniel Casey Conway be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Daniel Casey Conway be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Lachlan James Ellison.
May it please the court, I move that Lachlan James Ellison be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Lachlan James Ellison be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Malia Emberson Lafoahi.
May it please the court, I move that Malia Emberson Lafoahi be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Malia Emberson Lokorati be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Palin Ursoy.
May it please the court, I move that Palin Esoy be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Palin Ursoy be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Jordan Farah.
May it please the court, I move that Jordan Farah be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Jordan Farah be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Nathan Andrew Finch.
May it please the court, I move that Nathan Andrew Finch be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Nathan Andrew Finch be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Nicholas Grewal.
May it please the court, I move that Nicholas Grewal be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Nicholas Grewal be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Tian Cheng Guao.
May it please the court, I move that Tian Ching Guao be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Tian Cheng Guao be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Bruce Kai Huang.
May it please the court, I move that Bruce Kai Huang be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Bruce Kai Wong be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Annabel Rose Huxley.
May it please the court, I move that Annabel Rose Huxley be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Annabel Rose Huxley be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Kevin Eric Jacob.
May it please the court, I move that Kevin Eric Jacob be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Kevin Eric Jacob be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Dong Hoon Kim.
May it please the court, I move that Dong Hoon Kim be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Dong Hoon Kim be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Davina Kumar.
May it please the court, I move that Davina Kumar be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Davina Kumar be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Rowan Kumar.
May it please the court, I move that Rowan Kumar be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Rowan Kumar be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Anthony Lee.
May it please the court, I move that Anthony Lee be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Anthony Lee be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Kelvin C. Chung Lee.
May it please the court, I move that Kelvin C. Chung Lee be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Kelvin C. Chung Lee be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Johnson Z. Ren Lee.
May it please the court, I move that Johnson Z. Ren Lee be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Johnson Z. Renly be admitted as the lawyer of this court.
Joanna Ma.
May it please the court, I move that Joanna Ma be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Joanna Ma be admitted as lawyer of this court.
Grace Hazel McCarthy.
May it please the court, I move that Grace Hazel McCarthy be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Grace Hazel McCarthy be admitted as the lawyer of this court.
Rebecca Mifsud.
May it please the court, I move that Rebecca Mifsud be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Rebecca Mifsud be admitted as the lawyer of this court.
Kevin John Murphy.
May it please the court, I move that Kevin John Murphy be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Kevin John Murphy be admitted as the lawyer of this court.
Millicent Rumbizayi Nepera.
May it please the court, I move that Millicent Rumbazai Nepera be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Millicent Rumdazari Napera be admitted as the lawyer of this court.
Belinda Nicole Orris.
May it please the court, I move that Belinda Nicole Orris be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Belinda Nicole Orris be admitted as the lawyer of this court.
Garen George Pazikian.
May it please the court, I move that Garen George Pazikian be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Garen George Pazikian be admitted as the lawyer of this court.
Andrea Michelle Coil Parempel Pratap.
May it please the court, I move that Andrea Michelle Coil Parampil Pratap be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Andrea Michelle Colperampel Pratap be admitted as the lawyer of this court.
Delphine Rabbi Bray.
May it please the court, I move that Delphine Rabbe Bray be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Delphine Rabbi Gray be admitted as the lawyer of this court.
Eloise Diana Ridley.
May it please the court, I move that Eloise Diana Ridley be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Eloise Diana Ridley be admitted as the lawyer of this court.
Thomas Russell.
May it please the court, I move that Thomas Russell be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Thomas Russell be admitted as the lawyer of this court.
Stephanie Francis Shaw.
May it please the court, I move that Stephanie Francis Shaw be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Stephanie Francis Shaw be admitted as the lawyer of this court.
Waijun C2.
May it please the court, I move that Waijun C2 be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Waijun C2 be admitted as the lawyer of this court.
Hong Lian Trong.
May it please the court, I move that Hong Lian Trong be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Hong Lian Trong be admitted as the lawyer of this court.
Austin Wang.
May it please the court, I move that Austin Wang be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Austin Wang be admitted as the lawyer of this court.
Pei Ru Wu.
May it please the court, I move that Pei Ru Wu be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Pei Ru Wu be admitted as the lawyer of this court.
Jasmine Jalu Yang.
May it please the court, I move that Jasmine Jalu Yang be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Jasmine Jalu Wang Yang be admitted as the lawyer of this court. Thank you, Registrar. Now that the formal moving of lawyers has ended, I'd like to warmly welcome you to this virtual admission ceremony at the Supreme Court of New South Wales. Present with me on the bench today to my right is Justice Beach Jones, who is the Chief Judge of the Common Law Division of the Court, and to my left Justice Sakar, who is the Judge of the Equity Division. Together we constitute the court that has, in exercise of its jurisdiction, admitted you to practice. As we gather for this celebration, physically dispersed, I'd like to begin by recognising the various traditional lands on which we meet. This ceremony is streamed from the Banco Court, which is located on the land of the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation. I acknowledge these traditional custodians and pay my respects to their elders, past, present and emerging. We recognise the long-standing and enduring customs and traditions of Australia's First Nations and acknowledge with deep regret the role our legal system has had in perpetrating many injustices against Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples. To all the new lawyers watching today, welcome to the legal profession. This admission ceremony is probably very different to what you're expecting. These are challenging times when you are unable to be admitted in person. However, your admission, conducted remotely, reflects the agility and adaptability you will need to possess as lawyers in an age of great change. This is a time for celebration. You have all worked extremely hard to get to this point, through caffeine-fueled nights and obscure problem questions, reading countless wafer-thin pages of textbook, and more cases than you could hope to remember. You've entered the world of eggshell skulls, encountered a mysterious reasonable person, and have understood the Constitution consists of much more than just the vibe of the thing. In becoming a lawyer, you have joined a centuries-old profession with ancient origins. The custom of advocates swearing an admissions oath dates back to the 12th century. This court first admitted lawyers to practice in 1824, and by 1830 the names of lawyers were entered onto rolls in this state. You have now become part of this tradition almost 200 years later. Probably for some of you, that is how long it feels like you've been studying. For many of you, over that period, the support of your family and friends has been invaluable. No doubt they have also often been on the receiving end of your finely polished skills of argument and persuasion. I do hope you take the time to thank them today. The oath or affirmation you have made before this ceremony is a serious one and deserves solemn regard. Whether you work in private practice, at the bar, in a community legal centre, or an entirely different field, you should be known for your honesty, your integrity, and your commitment to justice. It is an acknowledgement of this weighty responsibility that we observe today's unique formalities, including the moving of lawyers and our somewhat unusual choice of fashion. I recall on one occasion some years ago, a young member of the audience asked me if we were doing Santa photos after the ceremony. Regrettably, we were not. However, although we mark this occasion with formality and tradition, not everything in the legal profession remains unchanging. You'll be unsurprised to hear that over the past year and a half, we have had to adapt quite a bit, as is self-evident today. COVID-19 has meant a rapid shift to increased use of virtual courtroom setups and technology to ensure access to justice continues in the midst of a pandemic. Things don't always go smoothly, as those with me on the bench would undoubtedly attest to. There have been real difficulties to grapple with in terms of open justice, effective communication and fairness to participants. And occasionally a lawyer might even get stuck behind a Zoom kitten filter. But for all the challenges we are facing, the impetus is greater than ever before for us to prioritise flexibility and accessibility. Better use of technology and increased working from home arrangements have profound implications for how our legal system interacts with many people, including those in rural and remote areas, those with a disability, medical conditions, or carers' responsibilities. As the newest members of the profession, you are at the forefront of innovation in the law and have a unique opportunity to see through changes so that justice is done openly and equitably. There are, of course, other changes that deserve attention. When we think of the diversity of the legal profession, we encounter the duality that we have come very far and that much still needs to be done. Though women were originally not permitted to practice, since 2018, women have made up more than half of all solicitors with a practice certificate in New South Wales and currently make up 53% of solicitors under the age of 30. Women occupy many of the most senior positions in the law, including, of course, the Chief Justice of Australia. However, women continue to face challenges of representation among judges of the court and amongst barristers in speaking roles, particularly before the High Court. On the other hand, it is heartening to see that the local court of New South Wales has almost achieved gender parity amongst magistrates, but we must not be complacent about these issues. There are other noticeable diversity concerns that we must face head-on. Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples and people from diverse cultural backgrounds continue to be alarmingly underrepresented in the legal profession, and particularly within the judiciary and the ranks of senior counsel. We must also be alert to barriers to the profession for people from less privileged backgrounds. Law should not be a profession for the wealthy, and the idea that students may be dissuaded from studying law by the cost of a law degree, which this year has again increased, or because of other systemic issues, is troubling. Not just this, but we will only achieve a truly diverse profession when barriers to advancement are broken down and people from different backgrounds are properly supported in a collegiate and inclusive environment free from harassment and discrimination. These issues are fundamental to a just and transparent legal system and to the legitimacy of the rule of law. We need diverse representation amongst advocates and judges so that all people who become involved in our system of justice can be properly heard and fairly engaged with by a system reflective of our broader community. Despite these challenges, there is real scope for change. There is far greater diversity of background amongst junior lawyers than those who have been around for as long as me. You're in a unique position as new lawyers who who are entering the profession at a time when more than ever your words and actions are having an impact for good. You are being heard and taken seriously when you agitate to correct injustices, whether it be speaking out about unsustainable working cultures, sexual harassment or bullying within the profession, unfair laws, or systemic failings affecting our society's most vulnerable. I urge you to continue to speak up for these things. They do matter. You are the future of the profession and will steer the direction it will take. As a lawyer, you will also need to make difficult ethical decisions at times. With regard to our personal characteristics, lawyers have been the butt of jokes for centuries. Some would say there are only a handful of lawyer jokes. The rest are true stories. But jokes aside, you must use the tools you have developed to think critically and not compromise on your fundamental duties to the court, the administration of justice, and other ethical duties you must uphold. Now that you are lawyers, you can get paid to argue instead of just arguing for free. Of course, there's a lot more to it than that. You're an advisor, a problem solver, a mediator, and an advocate for the marginalised. As you go about your day-to-day work, remember that you're not merely dealing with the law in a vacuum as a series of abstract concepts, but law as it applies to people's lives. For this reason, you must strive to deliver legal services competently and fearlessly, with courtesy and integrity. Justice Gageler, before he was a High Court judge, once said, "You must be prepared to give the same answer to the same question for the same reasons, no matter who asked the question or for what purpose or in what context the asking may occur." That is foundational to the rule of law. For those of you who will practice law, the way you communicate information to others will have profound consequences for access to justice. For a non-lawyer, law is often incomprehensible. One of your roles as a lawyer will be to make law accessible to others, sometimes by deciphering legal complexities, other times by deciphering poor legal drafting, and sometimes both. One thing you will regrettably strike throughout your career is legislation which seems carefully crafted with the sole object of ensuring that no one can understand it. Your task is not just to understand it, but to explain it clearly to those whose rights and interests are affected by it. As lawyers, we must not keep the law locked up as something knowable only to us. A client reading your advice should be empowered to understand your meaning, not mystified and confused. So be clear and concise in your writing and your speaking. Plain English is powerful. Consider, do I really need to say aforementioned or herewith? Must I sprinkle in that Latin phrase? Should I really use double negatives, tautologies and wordy clauses that take up a whole page? The answer to these questions is self-evidently no. The best advocates can make their points simply and succinctly. Now, I must confess some of the most experienced lawyers and judges from time to time could use that reminder, but don't pick up their bad habits. I also want to speak about failure. I would not be surprised if there are quite a few overachievers and perfectionists watching this live stream today. Even so, at various points of your career, you will make mistakes, some minor, some more serious. When you do make mistakes, your commitment to honesty, integrity and the administration of justice means that you must take responsibility, correct what you can and learn from those errors. You must fail at times in order to grow. What is important, you try not to make the same mistake twice. I myself have made many mistakes over the years, too many to remember, although I do have some assistance from my colleagues in reminding me of them. But even as Chief Justice, my decisions have on occasions been successfully appealed to the High Court. When that happens, I simply remind myself that it's not a legal fiction, that the High Court is never wrong, and I'm compelled to believe it. But in fact, at times, even dissenting High Court judgments have later become the law. I also want to emphasise, finally, that your mental health is extremely important. This may sound unexpected at this type of ceremony, but the law is not everything. There may be times when you feel overwhelmed, burnt out or distressed. If you do, you should not be afraid to seek professional help or take a step back when you need to. Also remember that the law is a collegiate profession and in times of difficulty, the support of your peers will prove invaluable. I found that throughout my career. Although you might find it hard to believe, I was admitted quite a long time ago. I lost my first case, and I lost many more after that. But throughout my 35 years in practice, I could always count on the other barristers on my floor to share my disappointment at the unfairness of the verdict, the sly tactics of opposing counsel, and most often, I regret to say, the obtuseness of the judges or justices before whom I was appearing. I hasten to add I don't include either of my fellow judges on the bench in that comment. On behalf of all the judges of the Supreme Court, and particularly those sitting with me today, I once again congratulate you on your admission and welcome you to the legal profession. The court will now adjourn.